Hello and welcome to this Warhammer 40k Battle League results video with me, Mark, from the Zunovich channel. And today, next to me, of course, is...
I'm Ian. Hello.
He is Ian. Hello. So, the Battle League is over. This was the...
Three. It was number 3.
Number 3 of our Battle League. Quite interesting, because we had a different variety of armies in this one. We had 2 armies each, which were brand new to the league. Did you have Imperial Guard last time?
No, but not each.
Yeah.
No, I've had 2 armies before. I've had 1 new one. You had 1 new one.
That's what I mean.
So it's not 2 armies
2 new
each.
armies combined. Each Battle League. That's what I'm going with. So, the rules of the Battle League were as followed. Each army plays 10 games. If you win, you get 5 points. If you draw, you get 3 points. If you lose, you get 1 point. If you table someone, you get 6. If you are tabled, you get 0. The bottom one is automatically relegated for the next Battle League, and the winner has to stay in.
But you can change the list.
Of course. Now, there was in this Battle League a few things that happened. I do believe Space Wolves got a load of new models, and Space Marines got, I think, a brand new codex. And
so did Tau.
So did Tau halfway through that. So we're going to have to look at next year's Battle League and see if we get any substitutions or revisions to lists. For example,
which is more likely as well.
Yeah,
isn't it?
if you've got a Dreadnought and it loses 10 points but stays exactly the same, you would probably invest that somewhere else in the army.
And what with me being away for a lot of it, we've started playing around with different ideas of changing it slightly. So it's not going to be a year thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be Battle League 1, Battle League 2. This was effectively Battle League 3, and then the next one we start will be Battle League number 4. So it's not going to be an annual thing. It's going to be until we've finished all the games.
Yeah.
So the likelihood is lists are going to change, but we don't know how that's going to work. So this year's league has drawn to a close. It's finished. We've done. Completed it.
Previous Battle Leagues, we had the first one, I think, was won by...
Well, I think I've got it here.
I know who was relegated. Space Marines. That was at a time, though, when you had
it was a
relatively low amount of models and you just kind of threw in whatever you wanted, really.
Well, there you go. So Tyranids won the first one.
And the second one, you've got it right there.
That was won by Tyranids.
So
Tyranids 2 years in a row.
And who lost that one?
The losers were Necrons. It was quite close at the bottom last in number 2. It was nail biting to the end.
So now we'll go into the third.
So Battle League 3, or this year's one that we've just completed.
Okay, so we both had predictions for armies. We'll go through all the armies first, and just to remind you guys of what was in it. So my armies were Space Wolves, Dark Elder, and Tyranids.
My armies were my own Space Marine chapter, the Barbarians, the Tau, and Astra Militarum, or Imperial Guard, but Astra Militarum now.
Yeah. So we created our 2,000 point lists, and we got battling, and we've got the results right here and here. There. I thought that, I think I predicted did I say Dark Elder? Did we write down the predictions?
Yes, we did, but I don't have them.
I think I said Astra Militarum would do pretty well. Dark Elder would probably
we had
lose.
The Christmas Cup, didn't we?
Yeah.
Back at Christmas time, and Astra Militarum did quite well, considering neither of us had really played them before. I trialled them out, and they did reasonably well.
So promising
stuff. So we kind of went in thinking, okay, I made a few tweaks to the list at Christmas time, so we thought quite strong, see how they get on. We both kind of thought though that at Dark Elder, because we knew that they were a bit of a glass hammer. Again, you hadn't really played them, so we didn't have high hopes for Dark Elder.
No. So we'll go into it. I will start. I'll say who the 6th one is. So in last place is Ian's Astra Militarum. They've played 10 games. They only managed to win 2. They didn't draw any, and they lost 8. So their total points was 15. Now, whether it was the list or the game that went against them, or the fact that the codex isn't up to the standard of other codexes or 7th edition, don't know. But they were dead last with 15 points and will, unfortunately, be relegated.
Thoughts on them? I think some of the games they struggled a little bit, especially in like holding objectives, because once you kind of found that you could pop the tanks, everything else would like fall very, very quickly.
I have kind of noticed with lists on YouTube and stuff, people will go with an Aegis defense line, some heavy weapons crews, some tanks at the back, and stuff like that. But you kind of went with some couple chimeras, with some veterans, some Bulgrins, which you loved, and then essentially Lehman Russ tanks here, there, and everywhere.
I think though with the Bulgrins, I think they were quite a good unit. I don't think they would have got 15 points if it wasn't for the Bulgrins.
I think on paper I didn't like the Bulgrins. I still don't like the Bulgrins.
But their survivability and their just they're a battering ram effectively.
You used them extremely well.
They're strong and durable. So I think they did quite well, but they are expensive in the grand scheme of things. So obviously that meant tanks. I went with a heavy tank army. Obviously you need as many tanks as you can. Yeah, I think they struggled a little bit because they just didn't have, I don't know what it was, they didn't have the survivability other than the Bulgrins. But if you've got 6 objectives, you can't have 6 troops of Bulgrins scattered around the field. So unfortunately they will be relegated. They stone dead last.
Bye bye. Okay, so in 5th place
we have Tyranids. Obviously all of the teams played 10 games. Tyranids, a bit of a surprise to be down here, but we'll go into why we think they are. They only managed to win 4 games, so going from 2 times reigning champions to 5th. They managed to win 4 games. They finished on 24 points as they lost all their other games. The reason, well, before you said that the other 2 leagues, it was kind of an unbound list or
a dual force.
Or
so
there was lots of heavies or.
One of the best sections in the codex is usually the heavies, and before I had, as well as the Carnifexes, especially that I think last year's list was a lot stronger. There were the 3 Carnifexes. There was a couple of Morlocks. There was a Biovore for fun, but he would always stay on an objective at the back with the Turbogon, so those guys were always there. 2 Winged-Hive Tyrants. I added the Toxicrin in rather than a Morlock just to see how it was in this one. I added the Zone Threats in as well instead of...
They didn't do amazingly well for you, the Zone Throats. Thinking over some of the other battles,
if you looked at the most recent battle report, for example, Tyranids versus Space Marines, I'm not very good at rolling dice. So when you have a whole phase where you have to roll dice to determine randomly how many psychic warp charges you have, then rolling to see if you can get off the warp charge, and then usually with the Zone Throats, obviously you have to roll to hit and then roll to wound or armor penetrate. So a lot of dice rolling needed just to get to the end product, and I'm not very good at that at all, really. And previously Tyranids could have Biomancy, which I do believe did used to help a lot. in the previous editions, and with this, it's kind of like, again with the last one, I'm gonna make you do leaderships or pinning tests. Well, you've got and they shall not interfere, and you're very good at rolling leadership tests anyway. I can kind of do warp blast. I can hope for the best with that. I don't know.
But yeah, I think they.
I mean, I made this list
again. The your list was.
It was bound. It was
obviously that's a bit different now, like being bound and whatnot. But it was a standard list, if you like. So it did suffer a little bit. It wasn't as strong, and
we find, especially there was a game, I think, Tyranids versus Necrons. It got to turn 3, and I'd got like halfway up the battlefield, closing you down. You just essentially turned your Ghost Arcs, protected this objective that I was going to get, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I can't shoot you now because your armor is 13, and my weapons are generally strength 6 or below. So Tyranids don't have very good shooting, so they rely on getting there. But I took the Morlocks out, so
yeah, because you had like the Morlocks, you had a lot more in previous ones. You had a lot more disruption. So if you did have armor 13, you could pop up underneath it and just like attack it. But with this one, it was a very foot slogging one. So it's difficult, especially against me. I like to bring guns.
And there is haywire in Tyranids, but it's not hugely effective at all. So Tyranids, they're in 5th. 4th place, mid-table, is the Dark Eldar. My Dark Eldar played 10, they won and they lost 5, and they had 30 points, a good solid amount of points there.
Yeah, surprising. They surprised me.
I think the games they lost spectacularly.
Yeah.
The games they won, it just worked together. The list relied on giving you turn 1 or me having turn 1 and just surviving, and then from turn 2 just counter-attacking.
I think
deep strike.
The last few games that Dark Eldar played, you had them. I think you had them tactically a bit better. You got them a bit more.
I think I knew my list well enough that I could just. I knew I had to do something here, here, and here. And even though, again, my dice rolling isn't very good, and I'm rolling poison hits, so it's a 4+ to wound, I was able to bring on from reserve 4 or 5 units, and those particular units would disrupt you enough for the rest of the army to do something.
I think Dark Eldar are, as much as they're an elite glass hammer, they've got a lot of things going on. So their little transports, their venoms, they're quite cheap. You can get quite a lot of them, which means that you can get troops in them, which then makes it slightly harder, slightly more durable. I know the transports aren't durable themselves, but you put a troop inside the vehicle, they're going to survive a little bit longer, enough time to get all your reserves on. And if you've got all your reserves all over the place, you're like, what do I shoot, what do I kill? And then they can kind of swarm you.
They're manoeuvrable, and they're a counter-attack army,
Yes.
and that's what helped them out. So in 3rd place...
so the top 3 was actually very, very close. It came down to the last couple of games. And in 3rd was Tau. So the best Tau have done so far, they've come 4th and 4th. So
they've gone up.
3rd this time. They won 6 games, they lost 4, they got 36 points. So they didn't table loads, but they tabled a few, and they won obviously 6 games.
I think I saw a review of the Codex and by Jay, who used to work at Mini Wargaming. He did label them as a boring gunline army, that your best bet is to try and table your opponent, and if you don't, you may win, you may not. And I mean, they won 6, out of the 10
Again,
games.
Of the games they won, I think they were quite convincing. They were quite a strong army. The list wasn't overly competitive.
No, it was quite balanced in the
few
list.
things.
Again,
piranhas in there
no
as well.
flyers.
So, but yeah, that was obviously last year or whenever it was Codex.
I mean,
so
you say they're close. There's literally a couple of points here or there from it, and Tau are extremely powerful. They're a very, very powerful army, especially combined with Markalites and especially with all the new tricks they got in the Codex. For example, there's one bit where I think it's in one of the formations. You successfully get
a certain amount of Markalites.
Certain amount of Markalites. Yeah, and you get a free Seeker missile, which I think in the rules states it's
aerial bombardment.
It's from orbit. You didn't have to upgrade any vehicles to have this Seeker missile.
It's a free shot, basically. So, and there's been times where you've got to that certain model, that multi-wound model, and you're taking it down, and you just need one more thing to shoot it, and you're like, that, I've got nothing left. That Seeker missile, take it out, and I think that would be very powerful. The Tau are, for us, we find that they're normally quite relatively strong. They hold their own.
And you've had them for 6 years now.
I've had 6 years.
No, 5 years. 5 years.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought.
No, it was my second year of uni. I'd come back at summer and went to get the Codex because it was the time where the new High Elf Skaven box set was, and I was in my second year house at uni, so I remember.
There you go. But yeah, they've as Tau are kind of, obviously I've got my own barbarian list, and Tau, my own barbarian army, and Tau, they're both kind of my armies. They're my number ones, like you with your Tyranids, I suppose. But yeah, they did average for Tau, I think. Not overly wow. Although some games there were, some games they struggled a little bit.
Again, you did no formations and no sneaky
And
tricks.
obviously, it was the old Codex. We've got the new Codex out now, so I might play around with that and see what I can put in the new league.
So second place. Playing 10, winning 6 and losing 4,
So,
exactly the same
as
Tau. We have the Space Wolves.
Ooh. Space Wolves.
Space Wolves had 37 points.
So 1 point more than Tau.
Which would have meant they would have tabled someone.
One more time.
Yep. So 1 point ahead of the Tau.
1 point.
The Space Wolves had the new flyer. They had Logan Grimnar's chariot. And Space Wolves.
That is devastating.
The Codex itself.
It's a
very strong Codex. Yeah. It's in the top 5 of the Codexes, maybe even in the top 4 of power that I've read on paper and seen on it. This is without the new Wolverine models with the ice claw things. They were just extremely powerful.
So, just looking at the previous leagues, it's interesting that the top 3 are a lot closer. In fact, the top 4 are a bit closer than previous, because even the winning team from this year would have come 3rd last year and 3rd the year before.
So there was no runaway army. So this was
so it's a lot closer this year. Space Wolves, though, Logan on his chariot, I think that's got you half of those points.
Logan, he's over 300 points, but for that you get a chariot with 4-up invulnerable save. Logan, who's Eternal Warrior, he's got 2 weapon characteristics in close combat to either go AP 3 heavy, AP 2 heavy. He's got the wolves to help, which have rending attacks. He moves 12 inches at a time. Chariots are strong, vehicles are strong in this edition anyway.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Christmas Cup, Space Wolves have won it 2 years in a row as well.
Yes.
So, and again, I think Logan kind of helped you a lot in the Christmas Cup, especially the one that's just gone 4 months ago or whatever it was. So yeah, he's probably an absolute must for a Space Wolves list. The Airwolf as well, the whatever it's called,
Storm Wolf or
there
something
you go.
like that.
That was quite good as well. It's got a lot of shots. It's very powerful, and then on top of that, it can carry all those Terminators.
And it can then hover. It's an assault vehicle, so it essentially is a flying Land Raider, and
it's a bit like a Storm Raven.
But
it's got a couple more weapons, if I remember rightly. So very, very good. Those two were very, very powerful in your list, and then you just had the other things topping up and filling in where they needed.
But in first place, drum roll.
So it was my my Space Marine army, my Barbarians. They started out very strongly. They hadn't lost a game up until number 6. Six games in, they hadn't lost a game. They won playing with 7 games. They won 7 games, lost 3 games, and got 38 points. So they were only 1 point above the Space Wolves and 2 points above the Tau. So the top 3 within 2 points, very close.
So let's take a look at it. You had 2 Devastator squads, which generally, from what I see everywhere, that's what people would take. Similar to Space Wolves, 2 Devastator squads. You had a Land Raider with Terminators. I used a Flyer with Terminators. You had a strong HQ character. 2 up, 4 up, Eternal Warrior.
2 up, 3 up. He had Storm
3 up,
Shield.
Storm Shield. So a better invulnerable than Logan, but not as manoeuvrable. 2 squads of Tactical, which I believe my Space Wolves had as well. You had Scouts, which seemed to work out quite well with you.
Yeah, they didn't do too badly for what Scouts are. They were alright. 2
drop pods with 2 Dreadnoughts, which are usually kamikaze, but again in the last battle they lasted quite a while. 1 with las cannon, 1 with plasma. In the Space Wolves it was only the 1 Dreadnought. So the only.
And then you had your
Thunderwalls and all that. So kind of a similar list as such. It's just the Space Marines seem to do a little bit better. Now, people have put in the comment section, and this isn't against me or you with the rules, they've questioned the chapter tactic, which we'll just go over quickly. So the Barbarians, on is it their home planet?
It was a moon.
Exposed.
It was a moon that they had hit after a massive fight with a hive mind thing. They crash landed on a moon, and it was kind of all like, it wasn't like radiating, but it had some horrible qualities to it. So the radiation from it kind of, those that survived meant that they had a better toughness, if you like, to that kind of radiation.
So it mutated them, made them a little bit ugly, and so basically meant that So it basically meant that if you shot against them with any plasma weapon, they'd have 5 up invulnerable, but it didn't come into effect really.
No, because there's not really any plasma that you have.
But the main one was not rolling a get hot roll for any of your weapons, and your majority of your army was plasma, which is quite strong, and the reason it has a hindrance is because of how strong it is. Now, generally anyway, you don't really roll 1s, as if people follow the channel, you don't. It may have accounted to a limited amount of rolls, but I don't think it really hinders it. If you look at other chapter tactics, I think the Ultramarines get to re-roll bolter shots and stuff, so if you get a re-roll, obviously that's a hell of a lot of shots you get to re-roll, and it's really, really good. The plasma one, it's some people are like clutching at straws about it, but no, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, it's unique and something new, but it didn't really affect
And
it
it's only against plasmas. So, for instance, I think there's a Nurgle psychic ability that makes you roll, gets hot rolls on all weapons.
Yeah.
So the reason the plasma, it's kind of like the energy around this moon, it had developed them to use the plasma in better ways and develop that. So they're experts in plasma weaponry, which is why they have the better skill at firing them, and then not that it's better skill, but they've got a better skill so it doesn't get hot in firing them, and then they've got their invulnerable. So they're more used to plasma.
Yeah.
But with like the Nurgle thing, I think it is that makes things get hot. That would still come into play. So if I was against any other army that caused normal weapons to get hot, then that would still be in play. It's just when using plasma weapons.
Yes.
So
yeah, I don't think it's too much of a hindrance again with doing that. It may have affected it, we'll never know, but like I said, I'm absolutely fine with it. We discussed it beforehand. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's more broken rules out there anyway. Just look at Eldar. So winners are Space Marines. You now get to have the trophy for the first time. How do you feel?
I feel ecstatic.
Ecstatic. I still have the Christmas cup.
It was very close this year.
So what we're going to do is have a chat about the next one.
Battle League 4.
Being Battle League 4, we may add an extra army in each. We don't know yet.
Obviously, we kind of mentioned that me being away for a little bit, it's a bit more difficult to get as many games in the short amount of time. So we might obviously lengthen the league out a bit, and possibly, we haven't decided fully yet, add other teams in. So instead of having 3 apiece, we'd have 4 apiece, but it would last a lot longer anyway. But that's just kind of in the works at the minute. We haven't fully decided.
But all I know I'm going to be bringing Eldar and Orcs. That's all I'm going to reveal now. So 2 brand new Xenos armies into the mix.
I have to bring Space Wolves. Space Wolves? No, I don't have to bring Space Wolves. I have to bring Space Marines.
Yes.
Barbarians. I cannot bring Astra Militarum. That's not allowed.
No. So we're going to have a discussion about that. Once we've got the rules tweaked, we're going to start the new Battle League ASAP. We'll draw all the armies for who's going to be playing who over the
period of time that it takes place.
However many games it's going to be. And then we'll start with the first battle report. I think we're going to stick with 2,000 points.
Yeah.
Seems to be good with us. Anything goes. You can do allies if you want. You can do formations if you want. We're quite purists though. We don't usually do allies.
Not really, no.
Not hugely.
If
but
I see one army, it's like, that's the army, you know. Obviously they may have friends and people that come help them out, but that's for like big battles that we do.
Yeah.
Now and again.
So, congratulations, Ian.
Thank you very much.
You have won the Battle League.
Just,
but you had last and first place.
I did have last and first place. I haven't had a tournament yet where I haven't had last. So that possibly might be my goal for next year. Don't get a team relegated. And it's going to be even more difficult with 4 teams though. So
yeah, we'll just see how it is. So thank you very much for watching. The winners is Space Marines and the champion is Ian. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Mark from the Xenovids channel. Please comment, share, like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next video.